Much. Hey guys, good afternoon, good morning. It depends where you are now. So yeah, today then, my name is William Perez, as Ivan said. I'm going to be presenting the SAP Solution Manager 7.2. The topic on that is requirements management piece. So we're going to go over a few slides. I'm going to explain what it is and show you some of the features, why we need requirements management, why SAP has introduced that piece to Solution Manager 7.2. Okay. So let me start it here very quickly, in a second. So a little bit about CoreALM, just a little bit about CoreALM. CoreALM is a global consulting firm that specializes in SAP Solution Manager, and we've been in the market for several years. We have been recognized as one of the best consulting companies when it comes to Solution Manager and application lifecycle management. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. So as part of the portfolio, what we CoreALM offer, so you can, as you can see on my screen here, you can imagine everything from the cycle, the application lifecycle management at your corporation in the IT environment. So from the process project portfolio management, so we have several elements that compose that part: business process management, test management, ITSM, and change control management, which is the topic that we're going to cover today. DevOps and run SAP like a factory, OCC, design and development, and DevOps. There's different ways we can engage CoreALM and customers, so we can do as managed service, we can do fixed costs, and time and material. If you want to get to know a little bit more about the different engagements and how in more further details, feel free to contact us so we can discuss that as a separate call. So as part of when we talk about Solution Manager, so you have your Solution Manager, a lot of customers underutilize their Solution Manager. Solution Manager is a very powerful tool that offers a lot of different capabilities to make your day-to-day life much better. So as you can see here, you have Solution Managers, the core element. There's a lot of different elements that compose the ALM as part of Solution Manager. And there's a lot of different products out there that can be integrated, or it's already part of your IT environment today. It's integrated in Solution Manager, and we support all that. We only don't do SAP Solution Manager. We go beyond that. We support any ALM tool that can be integrated into Solution Manager. So that gives you an idea of the service that we can offer to you. So as I told you, we're one of the best consulting firms out there when it comes to SAP Solution Manager ALM. So we've been recognized as the 20 most promising ALM solution providers in 2015, and also a very important award is the SAP Pinnacle Awards that we got that 3 years in a row. That means that we have deployed our service with quality, and everybody is really happy when we do our implementations. Any type of service we offer, it's being recognized as very good and trustful consulting firm. We're also SAP partners, SAP certified in application management service, and SAP certified in run SAP implementation. So all that shows that we are a good quality consulting firm. So, and before I start the agenda for today, we're going to get a polling on the screen asking a question about your plans for upgrading into Solution Manager 7.2. So I'm going to give you a minute here to answer that polling question. So I would appreciate if you can answer that. So, Ivan, I'm not sure, but I'm not able to click on the yes or no. Not sure if it's.
Yes, presenter, you cannot be. You can't be clicking on the poll.
Oh, well, that's sad. I was so excited for that. No problem. Okay. Okay. I guess we got everybody answering the polling questions. Thank you so much for that. As far as the agenda for today, we're going to talk about requirements management. There's why requirements manage. What's the purpose? What's the value? What that gives to any customer that doesn't have requirements, and what the pain points? What do we have today in our IT environment that would drive us to implement requirements management? and also showing the process, the different, how the workflow for requirements management looks like in Solution Manager 7.2, and also jump into the system, show you some of the detailed functionality, how that works together with the existing interface, the ITSM and all that stuff that already exists in Solution Manager 7.1, how that thing's all connected and integrated. And then we're also going to talk about some of the upcoming webinars and some other things that we CoreALM offer to our customers to help you to go to the next steps and some of the questions and answers. Okay. Okay. So a second here. So when SAP was thinking or to introduce requirements management, they of course they identified a need or a pain or an issue into for the existing customers. So the customers were saying, hey, you know, I like what we have in Solution Manager. So as far as creating a change request, like for the charm piece, right? I'm doing managing my change every day, but you know, every time I have a change in my IT environment, how do I collect that request, right? So it's through an email, it's via a spreadsheet, it's via an incident ticket, it's via an in-problem ticket. So how that initial request is collected is through a request for change. But before we get to that request for change, which is already part of your change management piece in Solution Manager, I wanna track the business requirement, the business need for initiating that request for change. And so that's one of the reasons, or the main reason, that SAP has introduced requirements management into Solution Manager 7.2. So there was no transparency on when people were requesting something from business and committing with the IT. So now with that, we have a good integration between IT department and the business department committing with each other to establish that trust and that work until it gets all deployed into production. So it helps with the low transparency of maintenance costs, inefficient project management due to large coordination requirement, loss of information between project management, change management due to the different tools. So everything now is part of one single process in the same place, the same source of truth. And so, and all that just helps you to have a more successful project, clear and transparent project. Okay, so as I told you, the lack of transparency, the lack of not having a way to hold that information from the business when they have a new requirement. How do I hold that information? How do I initiate that information? Before, as you can see, the input here on the green boxes, we would get that through an incident, through a problem, via email, or any other more manual process, which could be very inefficient, time-consuming, right? And you wouldn't have that piece integrated to as one single workflow. So SAP has done, they introduced the business requirement, the IT requirement elements to the workflow into the Solution Manager ITSM piece. So now, me as a business, I have a need for something new. It's a new requirement. So what I do, I come into Solution Manager, initiate the business requirement. That business required form, a document, will eventually translate into an IT requirement, which will make sure those two departments are talking to each other through the workflow. Everything is logged, and we keep track of all the single information that's entered by the two different groups. Then once those two departments, the two groups, they commit with each other, that would eventually turn into a change document, which could be part of a release or a regular continuous cycle or phase cycle, and then eventually deployed. But as you can see, there's that one single process, one single tool tracking and tracing and controlling everything. So we don't need to jump into a different tool to start your requirements. Your requirements now it's integrated into your changes and then eventually deployed. So everything is keeping track of in the same place. So this slide that I'm showing you here gives you an idea how these things are integrated, and it can go even further. If you look at the green portion here, I have my business requirement, and in Solution Manager 7.2, the solution documentation, your hierarchy, your business process step, everything that you have documented now can be linked to a business requirement and IT requirement, which really helps for us to have a reference when we do when we initiate a new requirement. And if I want to help the person that's going to be looking to that requirement say, hey, I'm doing a new this new report which is necessary for me to extract those numbers monthly. I don't have that information today, and this is a new requirement from my financial department. And this is related to business process and business step. And this documentation, we already have a documentation related to this information in this hierarchy, in this business process and business step. So now we can link that together with the solution documentation, right? And another thing you can do, I'm a project manager, and I want to make sure every time I create a new project, the new requirements are managed through the PPM. I don't want to just go ahead and create a requirement directly in Solution Manager, but I want to actually initiate that from my project, from the PPM piece in Solution Manager. No problem. So now in Solution Manager with the new PPM, we can integrate the requirements directly to PPM so they can go back and forth. So we have the tight integration between your project and IT requirement and business requirement. And eventually, the IT requirement can create a follow-up document, which can be your change document, right? Your urgent change, normal change, your charm would come into picture, and also can be assigned to release. And that's where the release management would come into picture to help you with your synchronize your minor, major releases. Okay. So as far as the process, when we talk, I already kind of gave you an idea how the requirements process would look like in the real life. So here's a user story, and for every customer out there, somehow, some way, you would relate it to this need or to this process. You have to manage that, right? Any company that has chains and requirements would have to go through this in a certain manner. So today, if you were to go and use requirements manager, how that would look like, what type of involvement different groups and the different process and steps would be involved, right? As a business process expert, I would come here and define a new business requirement. So then I would log into Solution Manager, enter my new business requirements, open this form, fill out all the necessary information, and I would send to my business manager that document for him to validate and approve, right? My business manager, okay, I understand what you need. I think we really need it, makes sense. Let's send that to our IT department to evaluate and see if it's possible. So the business manager would get it, we get this document, the workflow document in Solution Manager, and send it over to the IT department. The IT department would review that, say, okay, cool, I understand what you wanted, so I think we can commit with this work, right? I think this is going to require a certain amount of development, 1 or 2 developers, 2 weeks of development, and all the different information that you guys today, but it's keeping tracking the same document, right? So once my IT department says, okay, we can commit, so I have my business manager here, and my IT department says, okay, let's commit with this work. It takes 2 weeks. This is the amount of work. This is the design document. This is what we need. We expect as a result of this requirement. And then what do we do now, right? The document's committed between business and IT. So it's ready to send for our development team. So that's when charm comes in. From my business, it turned into an IT requirement. My IT requirement is now ready to be submitted into charm. So a developer would be assigned and start working on this document. This document would be developed, tested, and eventually deployed into production. So that gives an idea how the requirements management can help you to collect information, track it, trace it, approve it through the workflow to the point where you get to the development all the way to deployment. Okay? So that gave you an idea in the more detailed level how that looks like. So here's the more higher level. So you have step number 1, business requirement. Step number 2, IT requirements. Step number 3, that becomes a change document with your transfers, and then eventually those transfers will be deployed. That closes the cycle we call requirements to deploy cycle. Okay? And there's some features here, the detailed functionalities that I'm going to cover on the system itself, so you guys see what the requirements management look like. So this just talking the requirements and business working together, and that's a good feature about those two guys. The business having a tight, closed loop with the IT people, and we didn't have that before. So, and one thing that I want to mention to you, so Solution Manager is a very flexible tool. So say, hey, William, but you know, in our corporation, we don't want to use business. We want to actually start directly from the IT requirements because you know we consolidate all the requirements inside of our IT group, and then our IT initiates anything that needs to be developed. And in our system, they actually initiate the request for any change. No problem. So what the SAP did here, let me show on the slide here. If you don't want to use business requirement, you want to start requirements directly from IT requirement, no problem. They are independent. You can use IT requirements forward, but if you decide to use business requirements, yes, you have to go through IT requirements and change documents. But I say, no, I just want to use from IT requirement forward, no problem. Or I want to use the full-blown requirements management all the way to deployment, no problem. Then you do business, IT, and change document, or IT, change deployment. Just give you an option and that flexibility in case you don't want to go through from the business requirement. So there's some functionalities that detailed functionality that I'm going to show you directly in the system in a few minutes. So you can do there's a tool that you can use on your mobile devices this is something new that SAP has done in 7.2 to allow more mobility. So people now can use their mobile devices to interact with the ITSM and requirements management piece and change management. I'll show you that in the system. And this is just showing the tight integration with your IT and the whole process. And here's also showing some of the additional functionalities that we're going to discuss a little bit further. One of the functionalities that I would like to mention here, so checklist used to exist before, maybe was not available for all the different modules and pieces in Solution Manager. So now you can configure checklist every time you create a business requirement. Here are the 5 items that we should collect from the business before we submit for the business manager to review. So, and then some other pieces here that are also really cool for the IT PPM as far as the collecting timing. So how much effort did I put towards this requirement and the development? I wanted that number to be counted towards the amount of budgets that I put in my project, right? I put like 500 hours for this project. So every time someone creates a requirement and goes all the way to deployment, I want to keep track of those hours, and I want to count that hours against the hours that I have defined in my project. That's really, really powerful tool, integrating all the different elements. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump into the system very quickly to show you some of the highlights of this functionality, the requirements management. So you guys have an idea of the look and feel, how that looks like, and how that can be linked together. Okay, 1 second here. Very quickly, let me open. Okay, I already have my Solution Manager 7.2 running on HANA right here. So I'm gonna go on Solution Manager, SolMan Work Center transaction. That's gonna launch me the Fiori Launchpad. Now in 7.2, Fiori is very strong, so you can see that it's a new interface. It looks better and friendlier. So right now it's launching my work centers in 7.2. It looks different. So those are different tiles for the different areas of the work centers. The area that we're talking today is just one here, project and process management. That's where the requirements management piece is placed on. So I have IT service management, but this one is the one that it has my requirements piece. So there's few tiles here. We're not going to be able to cover every single tile because there's so much. Solution Manager has so much to offer and so many things that's really cool in 7.2. My focus is to show a little bit how the requirements management form looks like and how that's linked together with the IT requirements. But before I create a new requirements a document and the fields, I would like to show this guy here, my business requirements. That's the one that SAP created to allow mobility. So from this interface was created, if you're on the road, you're somewhere on the airplane, and you don't have your laptop with you, but you initiate a requirement sometime during the week, and you submitted the requirement to the IT people or to your business manager to review. but you forgot to attach a file, or you forgot to mention something, or there's a question that was not clear there, and your business manager sent that requirement back to you. Hey, I'm not understanding what you're saying here. Why do we need that? Can you give me more explanation? Or something that needs to be attached, or additional information. So this is sort of a chat. You can go back and forth with the requirement that you created. You can also attach files. You can submit. You can actually create a new requirement from here. It's going to be with the basic information, but you can initiate a new requirement from this interface from your mobile device, okay? And you can go back and forth. It's helpful in some situations where you don't have your full desktop with you. So that's one of the things that SAP has introduced, this mobility mobile interface. As far as requirements management goes, if I click on the requirements management tile, it's going to take me to the CRM UI. The CRM UI has also been improved. You can see the screen looks nicer and better. So I'm going to go to the requirements management here. So there's two sections of the screen. I can search for existing business requirements. I can search for IT requirements. I can create business requirement, and I can create IT requirements. So today, I'm going to show you an existing business requirement, how that looks like, and how the business and IT are connected together, and also how that actually can end up going to the charm, right? Because that's the beauty of Solution Manager. Everything is integrated. Everything goes together. So let me go to the search business requirement and search for an existing document that I have created a while ago. Let me see here. Okay, so I search for the document and it comes here. So let me open this guy here that's incompleted, but that's fine. I just want to show you how the fields and the look and feel looks like. One of the things that you can notice when let me show you here. On the status review, you can see all the different status that you go through the life of this requirements document. So first of all, you define, right? Do you remember that workflow that I showed you previously today? You define, you submit for validation, it's checked, it's handed over to IT, then it's committed to IT. There's a lot of different steps that are executed. They involve different people, different approvals, and that's just to keep things in control and have a good flow of the process. So then I initiate the document. There's some fields here that I populate. What is the description? Who is going to work on it? Business process expert, business process manager, requirements manager. What is the priority? Some of the categories that you could use. And then the text box here where you can add a general text box. Say, hey, this is a new requirement for the report for the financial department. Then you say, here's the design document. So if you're the business, then you may want to work with the IT to put a design document together. So then you attach the design document or whatever is related to the requirement. If you want to associate a URL to that requirement, if you want to, oops, a second, I'm hearing some noise here. Yeah, if you want to associate a URL to that requirement, that's not a problem. You can come here and say, hey, this is the ticket from my ServiceNow remedy that's related to the requirement. In case you don't have a one-to-one direct integration, you can leverage that. So this is for attachments overall. And then remember that I told you, so now in 7.2, you can use solution documentation to link your requirements to your existing hierarchy, your blueprinting. So you have a business process and business process steps that you want to link to this requirement, because this is important for whoever's going to be working on that requirement to see that which part of your hierarchy is going to be affected or could be related to help understanding what you're looking for, right? And then as far as the related transactions section here, so every time in CHARM or in the ITSM business requirements management module, every time you create a document, what you're seeing here is a new document, right? So every time this document follows up with a subsequent document, this subsequent document will be listed here. So, and a subsequent document for a business requirement, it is an IT requirement. So once they reach a certain stage of the approval process or the workflow, when we commit with the IT requirement, it's going to create me an IT requirement document. And that's where I can go from here. I can go to the IT requirement. And from the IT requirement, I'm going to have the same section to go back and forth. And once my IT requirement commits with my development team, I will have another document there, which is a change document. And then the change document will be listed there. So that's really helpful for you to go back and forth to trace the region or the source of that request. What was the business requirement? What was the IT requirement? What was the change document? Who deployed how many chains? So everything can be is tied together and very easy to navigate. Okay, so the processing log here helps you to list all the actions, everything that has happened to the life of this document will be Solution Manager keeps track of it. So you can see very clearly who approved it, who tried to execute that something that was not really authorized. So you know the people that are trying to do things that are not really authorized, or when exactly it was approved, how long it took to be approved. This keeps the history of the execution. This is really helpful because a lot of people, so who did this? When this was submitted? When this was approved? When this was implemented? Now, okay, why this guy tried to execute something that if he doesn't have authorization? So it keeps track of the log of this every single action that's being executed here, right? So what I'm going to do now, I'm business requirement. I'm going to jump into the IT requirements document so you guys can see the follow-up documents, right? This is the follow-up document that went through the several steps and several parts of the workflow until it has been completed, because this document already closed the cycle. But this guy went, committed with the business, and submitted a document for implementation. Look here, step number 8. So what that means, when I scroll down here, it has similar body from the previous document. But when I go to related transactions, now if I look here, I have my business requirements, the document that I had previously. And now I also have a charm document, a change document. Cool, right? So that eventually in the workflow, I reach a certain status that say, okay, time to send to development. Then my development team got a new document, went to their queue, the developer got assigned, transports got created, tests, and deployed. So, and the similar to the other document, the difference from the IT requirements, because here, when it comes to the IT requirements, we have the scope. That's where we define how many documents or change documents will be necessary to fulfill this requirement. So in this case, we have one urgent change, could be many, could be a normal change, an urgent change, a release type of a change, no problem. So that's where you list the scope. Task management, if you want to associate or link that to any testing part of your process. The time recording, here that's where you keep track of how many hours I spent doing this development. So the person is going to keep track of the hours. The developers put like 8 hours, so keep track of the hours here. It's going to count against your PPM project. There's really helpful information to have a good coordination of the project. And the processing log is the same area that we taught, the same element that I talked previously, to help you understand all the actions that has happened to the life of this document. And just one more item. So now that I'm in the IT requirement, the same thing I did before, this guy was created as a follow-up document from the workflow. I click here, and it's going to take me to the change document. Now we're in Charm, right? Charm has the same workflow, went through different people, different process, different different parts of the workflow, and we got to complete that. That has been deployed into production, right? Went to that, QA, and production. So we can see here, there's a lot of good information here. You can see the transport number here, the landscape, and a lot of other information. So here, hopefully, hopefully you guys got to understand the linkage between business requirements, IT requirements, development team, testing team, and deployment. So that's how tight the workflow it is with requirements management. That's really helpful to keep you guys tracking all the different requirements from the very beginning all the way to deployment. Okay, so that's the demo that I've done here. So let me go to my slides. So 1 second here. Okay, so what are the value proposition when we 1 second, the value proposition of the requirements manager? So it's like a lot of other products in Solution Manager, ITSM, Charm, release management, quality gate measurement. There's a lot of things, but they're all role-based approach. So customers love that because you can separate like your basis team, your business expert, your change manager approver, your business person. So everything is role-based approach, and it's very easy to configure and separate that. It's even better now in 7.2 because you can actually configure the launchpad actually to have the different roles to execute different tiles, and the user will be initiating the specific tiles for that functionality. So easy communication between business and IT. Before, if you didn't have requirements management, could be a little bit confusing, or you could be missing or lack of transparency. Now it's very easy to communicate back and forth, and you have there, the information's there, you committed, everything's documented, right? There's no more excuse, oh, I didn't ask for this, I didn't ask for that. Yeah, no, you did ask for this, and everything's documented, we approved, we talked about it, that's how much you took to do it, and it's all good, right? We have everything in one place. Is which provides team transparency? Yes, because we have the workflow, everything's tied together, and we commit with each other when we reach certain stage of the workflow. And a central story for requirements and change management all the way through the life cycle. Like I said, it's one single process from the very beginning business requirements all the way to deployment. So there's a lot of value. If you don't have that today, because you know what I mean, it's a Solution Manager. You have this. Solution Manager is there for you. It's a free of license. You don't need to pay extra tools. You don't need to buy extra tools in the market to help you to have a better release management. Requirements management. So we just need to implement this tool and resolve a lot of pain points that you may have today because you don't have a good way to manage requirements. Why not use Solution Manager? There's a tool out there. Get that, or if you already have Charm, why not get requirements managed part of your process, make it more mature, more complete, right? There's a lot of value when you implement that. As far as cleaning, make things more consistent, more safer, right? So what would be so today I just showed a little piece of what requirements. Requirements is just a part or a piece of the whole process, the life cycle of the change document, right? When you introduce a new requirement, that eventually gets deployed. So if you want to see more, you know what I mean? There's much more that we can show you that we can do in Solution Manager that is tied to the requirements manager. We can do a lot of things. Now, from that point forward, we can show you change request management. We can do release management. There's a lot of integration in features, very nice features. The IT PPM integrated with requirements. How the ITSM, overall ITSM talks to these documents, they're all together. There's much more capability and integration points that can be done. So what you saw today was just a little tiny piece of the whole process. And besides of that, so we have upcoming webinars that will be related to the same item. So please, you know, if you want to get more understanding of how the next pieces are connected to this piece, so join us on the next webinar. It would be great to have it on the upcoming webinars. We have one in the second for managing and developing requirements to deploy. That one we will talk more to the complete process. Then we have on the 16th the release and transfer management. So that's the release management, the new element that SAP has introduced. And then on the March 2nd we have the custom code management. Okay. So if you guys today would like to go more in details, feel free to schedule company-specific demonstration. We can schedule one-to-one demo to go more in deeper in understanding what you guys are really looking for as far as the specific ALM component that you're planning to implement into your solution manager. So then we can go much deeper. Today was more a high level of the product and what it does or what it offers. So we offer, CoreALM offer a 1 hour solution assessment for you. We can jump on a call. I can talk to you. We can understand what you have, what your problems are. We can give them some guidance and understand your requirements, some idea how much time, effort would require for you to get you going with your ALM roadmap. Okay. So then another thing that we do. So let's imagine, hey, William, we don't have much money or much time to get this going, but I think I would like to have this piece at least initially going, so that way we know how this thing looks like before we invest like so much money. Can we get it initially going so that way we can start it, test it, validate it, and see if you really want to expand the implementation or the scope of this? No problem. At CoreALM, we have Jumpstart package. So it's like as minimum as 4 weeks, we can get you up and running with requirements management and some of the charm pieces all together running. So that's really cool for customers that wants to experience but don't want to invest the full-blown implementation with customizing and workflows, but it wants to have it right away running in your environment. Okay, so now if you guys have any questions regarding the presentation, the webinar today, I would love to hear that, and I'll be happy to answer.
All right, thank you, William. We actually do have some questions, and we'll now be going through them. As a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions pane in your attendee control panel. Our first question is from David, and his question is that we are new to SAP and don't have any processes around requirements. How would you recommend we get started?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think if I would recommend you, I think a jump start would be a great way to get started. I think we can do like I said, a minimum 4 weeks engagement, get you going, get you have that look and feel of the tool on your environment. Say, hey, this is really cool. That's what really we're looking for, and then from there we can do additional engagement to expand your scope, make it more requirements detailed and oriented to your needs. But I think Jumpstart would be a good way for you to get it going, get it so it can have the feel of the tool in your corporation.
Okay, we have another question from David. Is it possible to have a recording of this presentation? Yes, we will be having this presentation is recorded. I will be sending it out at the end of the presentation in an email. And his question, a follow-up is it possible to manage business requirements for non-SAP solution in Solution Manager?
Yes. So SAP Solution Manager, CoreALM, ITSM, release management, requirements management, when we think about it, think that we do SAP products and we support SAP change objects and non-SAP. So requirements management as far as the change control management and release management, we do support non-SAP change process and non-SAP requirements.
Great. Okay, I have another question from Mohammed Faisal. We are on Solution Manager 7.2, just upgraded. Question is the screen the same as you just showed during the session? So I guess he's asking if the screen that you showed, is it the same as his Solution Manager 7.2, or is there some sort of configuration that he needs?
Yeah, so the screen that I showed is a standard out-of-the-box Solution Manager 7.2. I haven't customized or changed anything, and I think that's what you're looking for. Yeah, what you saw is what we got out of the box in Solution Manager 7.2 for requirements management. I don't know if that's the question. The answer to the question.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, Mohammed, if you have a follow-up question, you can ask again. So I have another question from Chris. Hi, Chris. Can business requirements be sent to HPALM?
Well, it's always possible to integrate, right? So Solution Manager has some open APIs or APIs that we can definitely establish integration with the different tools, specifically to HPALM. I don't see why we could not. Of course, any integration that's not out of the box in Solution Manager, because I don't think Solution Manager, as far as I know, has a out of the box configuration item to establish with HPALM for business requirements. But we could definitely, if this is a requirement for you, as far as your process is starting something HPALM, then following up into business requirement, from there going through the business all the way to deployment. I don't see that as it's possible, but we definitely have to put some custom development in place to make that happen.
Okay, I hope that answers your question, Chris. So I have another question from Animesh. We are planning an upgrade to Solution Manager 7.2. Can you guys help us understand if there are any additional functionality that we can deploy to give us immediate added benefit?
If you're upgrading to 7.2, there's a lot of functionalities that you can use in 7.2 compared to 7.1. There's a lot of new things that are coming out with 7.2. We can definitely work together to help you guys to enable those new functionalities and new features and understand and use to the fullest. But Yeah, so feel free to contact us so we see how we can help you to work together for you to go to the next steps. But there's just requirements management itself, it's one piece of it, but there's way more than that you can achieve with 7.2 for the overall change control management.
Okay, I have a question again from David. I'm interested in the business process documentation solution. Might there be a webinar on this soon? So, David, we did have a business process webinar last year. I guess I can get one of my team members to just be in touch with you and send you that link to that webinar because we have it on recording. I hope that works. Okay. I have another question from Sarah. Sarah says is that there's a pressure within the company to complete a change management solution. Are you able to give a presentation to our team?
So you need a customer specific demonstration. I will be happy to have any demonstration to your team to explain the benefits, features, and value of any ALM piece. So yeah, definitely we'll contact you back, but to follow up with a separate call with you to discuss that.
Okay, that's all on the question list. Do we have any further questions? We can ask them now.
Yeah, so if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to type on the chat. We can answer. Yeah, that would be great. I would be happy to answer any questions related to requirements management, and just don't forget that we have upcoming webinars linked to the same topic, so that way you understand the sequence of this subject that we touched today.
Okay, I have a question from Fasal again. Is requirement management can be integrated with Microsoft Project Server?
So I think I talked to a customer today. They asked me a similar question or the same question. I have to double check that. I know that Microsoft project can be integrated to the PPM project. So what that means that PPM is integrated to business requirements. So I believe yes, that's possible. I just need to see exactly. Maybe we can have a separate conversation to understand which level. What's the sequence of your requirements, or what's the exactly workflow that you want to do with the Microsoft project and business requirements? Maybe we can use the PPM project in SolMan 7.2 to establish to resolve this situation or this requirement that you have. But I believe we could do that from the PPM piece, integrating with your project. From there, we can initiate the requirements, and all these pieces would be working together.
Great. Hope that answers your question. Any follow-up questions to the questions that you asked? Else, I will wrap it up here. Just going to give you a few seconds if you want to ask a follow-up question. All right. Okay. Thank you, William, and thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. As William mentioned, this is the first of in a series of webinars that we'll be hosting, discussing topics regarding to SAP Solution Manager 7.2. You can view our upcoming webinars at corealm.com/webinars. That's the URL on the slide right now. We do have several planned in the series. We really appreciate your presence here today, and if you have any further questions or follow-up to the questions that you asked, feel free to contact us. You will also receive a follow-up email shortly with a link to view today's recording, today's webinar recording. On behalf of everyone here at CoreALM and our presenter, thank you for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks, Ivan. Thank you.